Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Today is January 12th, 2026. It is 8:16 a.m. Today is day 498 and 499. Hope you guys are having a good morning wherever you are at. So this week, let's let this incline up first, at least to 10. And we're almost up to 15. That should be it. Let's see if it pops up. Yes. Okay, so now we have to get up to speed. We're going to do speed 2.5 today. And I just want to go ahead and kind of get it more started before I start talking, because I always feel like I'm yelling. I always tell people I'm that person that doesn't need a loudspeaker. But I'm actually a pretty quiet person, and so one of the things that is kind of difficult about me doing these videos, at least out here, is that my ring light's a little further away than what I like it to be. And so I know I can be loud enough for you guys to hear me, but like I said, sometimes I just feel like I'm yelling, and I actually have a pretty quiet voice. So let's see here. And today I get to find out if there's like a certain noise I was hearing on the second walk. And I'm going to see during this walk if I can figure out if it's a treadmill or my shoes, or maybe the fact that it's on the mats and the mats are kind of worn out. I might need to replace the mats that are underneath. Without them, my treadmill's not even. It rocks. Okay, so now we're at 2. .3. One more. All right, now we're at 2.5. Okay, so today's topic is, what's it like to be in your 40s, especially as you start to get closer to being in your mid-40s. Okay, so of course you can work out, drink water, eat healthy, get as much rest as possible to keep from having these problems, or to solve some of these problems if you're already starting to experience them, like say they started in your 30s. But like I said, the topic is, what is it like, or what might it be like? My husband used to tell me all the time that your body changes every 10 years. And so he'll say stuff like, or he used to say stuff like, wait until you get into your 40s. Now he says stuff like, wait until you get into your 50s. We have a pretty big age difference, and so he obviously has had a lot more time, and just existing, being here, right? And so he laughs, and I'm like, that's not funny. He was like, oh, just wait. And I'm like, ha ha ha. So that's kind of our inside joke with each other. Okay, so these are things that you may or may not experience. Aches and pains. If you are ready, more it's time to, like, remember the old joke, like a Rice Krispie treat commercial, snap, crackle, pop. Yeah, in your 40s, here it comes. Your knees, maybe your back. I mean, you could just be literally getting out of bed and you're like, oh my gosh, I think I just pulled a muscle. Or you're getting into bed and you might end up with a trolley horse, just like out of nowhere. And you're sitting there thinking, did I literally just hurt myself just literally getting out of bed? Really? And it could be during the middle of the night or the early morning. And so you're not even starting your day. But if it does start, the aches and pains happen more often. And even when you stretch, like when you yawn, be careful. There's a whole bunch of stuff right in here and in your arms that you can pull. And your neck, you don't even have to sleep wrong. Like I said, all you had to do was be getting up or laying down, or even getting in and out of a chair, especially a recliner. The next thing you know, it's on my back. Another thing is bruising. Okay, so when you fall, we're in tie bruising and not healing as fast into the same category. You don't heal the same. You bruise a lot easier. The bruises stay for a longer period of time. And you're hurt longer. And it doesn't matter. You can take pain medicine. You can use Bengay. We use a product that is similar to that. And all you're hoping is that when all of this wears off, that the pain is gone. But yes, quick story. So we were at one of the condos that we have access to in Las Vegas, and I was cleaning out the tub. It's at the Grandview. It's huge. You have to get in it to clean the other side. So I thought, I have long arms. I can just simply lay on the edge of the tub and reach the other side. I had already put the soap or whatever I used to clean it in there. So I got to the bottom and I was working my way back towards myself and my hand slipped. And there I went. Now, even though I was on my stomach and now I was teetering like this, like a teeter-totter, right? I looked and I had a bruise on my leg. Mind you, I didn't even hit my leg. Okay, I pretty much kind of just, all my weight fell into my stomach. And that bruise was there for all the rest of the time of the trip, all the rest of that week, all to when we got back home. And it was just odd. I remember it was getting worse. It looked like it was getting bigger. And it was warm enough to wear like just a long shirt to sleep in. And so every morning or throughout the day, let's say, not throughout the day, but like in the morning before we would leave to go somewhere and get ready, I would be sitting there looking at a bruise that had grown to be like the size of my hand. And I thought, again, I didn't even hit my leg. So yes, if you didn't bruise before, then it's a possibility you might start. Okay, so the next thing, and what I decided to do was, maybe I'm not gonna have my book out here anymore because it's so bulky. And these pages, you can pull them out and push them back on. It's a customizable notebook. So I can just put these pages back on there later and they'll actually turn when I flip them. Okay, so let's do a time check. 9 minutes and 30 seconds. And even though I'm doing good, I'm gonna go ahead and drink some water. Okay, so another thing is you can't eat certain foods that you used to have no problem eating before. And examples I put down are spicy foods. I'm sorry to tell you, unless you already can eat spicy foods, here it might possibly come. And if you're like me, you love spicy food, believe me, your stomach will thank you later if you just don't. Every now and then you might slip up, but the after effect of that is not good. Another thing, this one wouldn't necessarily mean that you have a dairy allergy or that you're lactose. And if you don't know, lactose intolerance does not mean that you are allergic to dairy products. Lactose is the sugar that's in milk and other foods, other sweeteners, or I should say sweeteners, and also sometimes it's used as an inactive ingredient in medicine to sweeten it. And I think that's why I said other sweeteners. But even if you're not lactose intolerant or you don't have a dairy allergy, then you might find that you still can't drink milk anymore, no matter what it is, whether it's the milk or the lactose. Cheese. Yes, if you're like me, a cheese lover, say bye-bye to the majority of them. Now, I know what you're going to say, but LaRae, you are lactose intolerant. Yes, but I used to be able to eat whatever cheese I wanted and it didn't bother me. Okay, so it would be, let's say, sipping milk, dipping cookies in milk, or drinking milk. So you're probably thinking, wait, it sounds like you're starting to develop a dairy allergy, right? That could be a possibility. Or it could just be the fact you're becoming more sensitive to the lactose, to the sugar that's in the milk. Don't know. But it is a possibility. And then also, to tie into that, the next thing I wrote was you develop certain, or let's say you had no allergies, or we'll say more. Certain can be certain or more allergies because it'll be unexpected, especially if you didn't have any. Some might go away that you had before growing up, but most of the time you develop some if you had none or more. So it's not just, oh, spicy foods, or now let's say, I don't know, maybe you eat like glucose-free food or something like that. Or maybe you discover you're allergic to wheat or something, you know? It doesn't have to be an allergy though. But you will find, even let's say seafood, let's say you were able to eat it before and now you can't stomach it and you don't know if it's an allergy or not. I mean, there are certain things that can kind of help you determine that before you even go into a food test for allergies. Like, you know, the itching of your mouth, things like that. Obviously your tongue swelling. Wheezing like when you're breathing and stuff like that. And you just inhaled like the oils from it. And definitely if it hasn't been cooked yet or isn't being cooked, if you just open the package and it never bothered you before, you never know. I'm not saying you're an allergic to seafood. I'm just saying that whatever made you be able to eat it, your tolerance level, your stomach might have changed. I don't know. But I have talked to some people and they have told me that that's one of the things that they've noticed. And some people have said that they couldn't eat it before. Let's say they knew that they were allergic to it, and all of a sudden, they can eat a plate of salmon like it's nothing. But with that said, with an allergy, If you don't have any, if you know people that do, keep in mind there's the pollen, there's the oils, and the protein in foods, especially when it comes to a peanut. Like I told you guys before, I'm allergic to the entire peanut. There's 5 components, 3 proteins, oil, and pollen. So you crack it out of the shell and that's it. You bring a payday around me, my nose is gonna start burning. It's the first thing. So I'll know it before I smell it. But even stuff like that, just things that surprise you. I think the most surprising thing is developing allergies you've never had before and you never had any to begin with. Another thing I wrote was you can remember, well first let's do a time check. 15 minutes and 48 seconds. Okay, you can remember a childhood memory, but you can't remember where you set your keys or your phone. You look for your glasses, and they are, I've seen this, they're either, let's see, where we at? Oh, there we are, okay. In your hand, on your head, and you're like, no, LaRae, unless you've done this before, then you know that this is a possibility. Or worse yet, you're wearing them. And you're probably thinking, are you serious? Yeah, especially if they're pretty lightweight. I've done that a couple of times. Another thing is, it's harder to lose weight and to keep it off. So, I'll give a prime example. I've said this before in the past week. I used to walk just only 40 minutes, whether I record it or not, go back in and I'm done. Now, I'm walking 80. Okay, so after this video, if you don't know, I take a quick break. I top my water bottle back off. And if I have to, I take a restroom break and then I come back out and I do the next 40 minutes. And I just listen to like a relaxing sound, or sometimes I'll watch a video. Yesterday I didn't even take a break. I didn't go top off my bottle. I thought I need to just go ahead and knock this other 40 minutes out. So I did my edit at the beginning of the video, sat my phone right here, and wrote down the next time and started my walk back again. But I am finding that I'm having to do more, like increase what I'm already doing. Another thing is, and you hear jokes about this all the time, probably read it on Facebook, you go to bed sooner. By 6 or 7 p.m., you're calling it a night. Okay, those late night dinners with your friends, 9 p.m., 9, 10 p.m. club, no. And let's just say you kind of already used to go to bed that early. Some of the reasons change, or there are more reasons. It's not just, I have to get up early in the morning for whatever reason. It might be, I'm tired, I have less energy. It could be, you ate something, going back into the other one, didn't know it was gonna bother you. Never bothered you before. But, I don't know, that peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a no-go no more. And you might have to start eating gelato, right? Because it's, I don't know, sis, that's odd. I don't know if there's no lactose in gelato, or no dairy, or both, neither. I can't remember. You'd have to look it up and see what's the difference, because I can't eat gelato. And of course, sorbet and sherbets. But, I don't know, you used to be able to eat asparagus and all of a sudden, you're, like I said, you're in bed because, you're like Pepto, lay down and see what happens. So all these different reasons why you might go to bed sooner. Or it could simply be, you don't like being out that late anymore. You're not really tired to the point to where you can feel yourself not being able to stay awake. Like I said, you didn't, get up, like I said, from the recliner to walk to the kitchen and hurt your back or something like that. You just simply don't like being out late. I think, for me personally, my situational awareness has increased. And quiet and peacefulness, any type of peace, you're fine with it. And you feel safer. So part of it for me is I do not need to be out there when it's dark. Another thing is kind of funny, but you wear less heels or none at all. Excuse me. Memory foam or gel inserts or both. Or at this point, I don't know if I'm going to say this word correctly, orthopedic, shoes or something like that, and socks, they become your friend. It's comfort before cuteness. And you're probably like, no, are you serious? Yes. And then you find a balance because you want to have something that is to your preference. Like, let's say you like a certain color, a certain type of shoe. If it is a heel, you tend to look for the memory foam or the gel insert, whether it's already in there, whether it's removable or not, or when you can buy, to make your current shoes, especially if they're stilettos, more comfortable. So you may not be in the tennis shoe section just yet on a regular basis, but for me personally, I've gotten there to where if I buy a pair of heels, like I said, especially stilettos, and I'm not talking about the stick skinny ones, I'm talking about the thicker stiletto, it's just still skinny. You think, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I know I cannot stand in these shoes for longer than an hour. And some of them are odd. I think they're just defective because they'll hurt, and all you did was put them on, go to a restaurant and sit down, and they feel like they're squeezing your feet. Let me know if you have shoes that are like that. And you're thinking, that's really strange. Like, why would they do that? I mean, I know they're probably new, but at some point they should break in, right? Okay, so time check. 22 minutes, 56 seconds. This one, hands down, I should have started with. You have less patience. Now, let's just get it out of the way and say you need it. Obviously. But sometimes you realize that if it's nonsense that you're expected to tolerate, no, you don't. And a person or people might try to make you feel bad that you're not being as patient when what they're doing is just absolutely silly. And they know it. But they're so used to you trying to be okay with it. Sometimes they know you're trying. They know what you normally wouldn't put up with. It's just they used to be able to push you further, and now they can't. And you realize all of this, so your patience level from nonsense just drops. And it should, for me personally, I feel it should be that way. You shouldn't be expected to put up with somebody CRAP, right? So, and this is from anyone. You know what you will and won't put up with in a relationship. You're okay with being alone. And I won't say all of a sudden, if you're like me and you don't like to eat alone or go to the movies alone, which I have done, I just didn't like it. You might not mind it. It's not a matter of liking it or not. You don't even think about it. You just go do it. So maybe if you were like that, that just kind of goes away. It's actually peaceful. Back to that peace we were talking about, right? Also, within that, you're more comfortable with yourself and how you look. And if you're not, you change it. But here's the key thing though. You change it, like let's say it could be your hairstyle. It could be your wardrobe. It could be, you didn't used to get your nails done before, but now you're gonna start. It could be you dress up more. Whatever the case may be, whatever change you make, you do it for yourself and not for someone else. And I would have to say, I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes a person will make a drastic change in their appearance, let's say after a breakup. And it could be they had super long hair and they just pretty much chop it all off. It's not a fade, but it's just short. I think part of it is, or the makeup changes or something. You just don't want to be who you were when you were with that person. So you change it. And I think sometimes, most of the time, people do it without even realizing it. And for them, sometimes it's like, oh, I just wanted a new look. But you're noticing from the outside looking in, most likely because you've done it before, that that's part of it. And I'm not saying it's something that the person needs to acknowledge or realize. It's just something that is noticeable. Usually when, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, you're right. Other people notice. And sometimes you do know. You don't want any memory of it at all, the relationship at all. So it's just, sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it isn't. But it's still one of the reasons you just didn't realize it. And other people saw it or see it. But like I said, in this case, it would be more so like a makeover. It's the new me, or maybe it's the way you would have preferred to have worn your hair or your clothes, anything like that. I don't know. Maybe you even get a piercing, I don't know. Or let's just say you do the opposite, you're like me. I have 5-year piercings and I don't wear earrings anymore. So I've kind of simplified some of my look, and now it's my hair. There's no like midlife crisis. My hair's been these 3 different blues for like 4 years or something like that. Before that, I was doing blue and purple. When I moved out here, my appearance wasn't so much focused on as much as my work skill. And so I thought, okay, until someone says something, this is me anyway. I used to wear wigs. I told you that the other day. And they would have some type of color in them, but they'd be at the bottom. And I used to think, it gets tiring. There is so much maintenance that goes into it. Not just your own personal hair, but the wig itself. So I thought, my hair usually grows pretty long. I'll grow it out. Let me see what I want to do to it. But I used to say I want it to be different or unique, or I am different, I am unique. And before, it was actually more so a suppression of myself. So for me personally, I no longer suppress that part of me. That's something I would have been doing. I really liked red, the color of a rose, with black, and red be the highlight. And so I would dye all my hair red. Every now and then it would be super red. Every now and then it would turn orange, right? Oops. Don't know how that happened. But I've always wanted some type of highlights, even if it was blonde. And so as I got older, I stopped suppressing that part. Especially when, like I said, at work, they didn't really care. Now I work from home, so now I can do pretty much whatever I want. But this is something I would have done anyway. I like color. Now my clothes, speaking of wardrobe, used to be mainly dark colors. I love black. And so my shirt, my shoes, my coats, you only have so many before you're like, but this one has gold buttons. And then you're like, but that's silk. Pull yourself out of that. You like hot pink. You do like red. You like the two-tone combination of clothes, black and pink, black and red, black and white, black and tan, black and cream. And so pull that part of yourself out. So for me personally, I would have to say the full me is there. And I don't think, depending on who it is, I don't worry about being accepted anymore, or being liked, or being looked at. And if you ever feel like, I wonder if I look kind of crazy doing this, or weird, or odd, then you'll see something where you're like, whoa, that's a lot of piercings. I like piercings, but man, or whatever the case may be, you'll see something. I don't know, a lot of tattoos. I love tattoos. I don't have any sensitive skin, eczema, scared of needles, you name it. Those are the reasons why I don't have any. But it might be a person almost completely covered, and it's shocking, right? Like, whoa, okay. But I would have to say, whatever the case may be, how freeing is that? And so I feel free. This is about as far as it goes. I don't even have my nails done most of the time. I do it myself. Takes a long time. And now it's not like putting on shoes or putting on a shirt. So that's one thing that started to change is, and I think because I started doing it myself, the time. I just don't want to take the time sometimes. And I'm supposed to be soaking them off because I started using soft gel nails and I still pop them off and it hurts. And sometimes it tears my nails. Okay, it's 4:33 minutes and 15 seconds. But that is the biggest thing, is being comfortable with who you are. And you learn, like I said, your tolerance level goes low for nonsense. And I think one thing I learned personally is just because someone tells you they're sorry doesn't mean you have to accept what's happening. You can take their apology, say thank you, and you can move on. And so by the time you get in your 40s, you are going to be possibly a whole different person, especially if you put up with a lot. You realize you never had to. So that, and another thing I was thinking the other day was, instead of looking at the time, because like I said, my birthday is at the end of this month. It's on the 25th of January. And I thought, wow, I'll be 44. I'm as close to mid-40s as I'm going to get for now, right until next year. And so I thought, I don't think, where did the time go? I used to think that, especially when I hit 40, it was like, whoa, wait, hold on, what just happened? And I don't really say 70, 75 average expected age to live, right? You can live way longer than that. But up until, I would have to say, and I realized, I don't know when this happened, but we'll say within the past week, I realized I'm not looking at where the time went, trying to figure out where did it go. I'm looking at where is it going. So for me, this is a new, I call it a switch, like a switch turned on or something turned off. Either way it goes, my perspective is changing. And in my past, it's just that. It's in my past. It has sculpted me, yes. It has been like where I've come from. You know the saying, you don't know where you're going to, you know where you came from, or however you said. I know I messed it up, I know, but it really hit me. I'm looking ahead now and not behind. So my question for myself is, what's next? And it's not just with planning trips. So that's something new for me. I won't say it's scary. I won't say that it makes me nervous. I think it just hit me. And just now it hit me to say it like that. I'm no longer looking behind me. And I'm not talking about watching my back, you know, making sure I'm okay. They call it watching your 6, right? You got 12, 3, 6 would be kind of behind you, and 9 is over here, right? You say watch your 6, it means watch behind you. If you did not know that, that's what that saying means. Or one of the meanings for it. But I'm looking ahead. Some things I realize we have figured out, and some things we're still planning. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Well, I don't anyway. I might not say certain things or say them a certain way, but I'm pretty honest. I can taste the difference in water, like the different waters, and so sometimes it's hard for me to drink it because I'm like, ooh, this don't taste like yesterday. Same pitcher, excuse me, same filter, but the fact that I can taste the difference, sometimes I stop myself and I'm like, you're gonna choke. No, drink it. So if you ever see me have an odd look on my face and I'm drinking water, that's what that is. It's ill, or, okay, that's not ill, but it's different. So maybe I'll start having a certain type of water. Okay, so we're at 38 minutes and 20 seconds. But yeah, that was, like I said, to sum it up, the biggest thing that if it was a subconscious thought, it became a conscious thought the other day. Excuse me, and I said, okay, well, as long as, how do I put this? I'm still waking up every day, then I will just keep planning, keep making goals, keep trying to reach them, and look ahead. And then just try to remember everything that I've learned up to this point and add it to the fact that I'm still learning. So, yeah, being in your 40s, if you're not feeling this way already, this may have started in your 20s or your 30s, but if it hasn't, your 40s, I think, for me personally, is special. I know that I would say it's more than being thankful for another day. Like I said, for me, now it's always been progression, but at some point I was kind of always looking behind me, looking over my shoulder, and I have to realize that everything that's happened up to this point is behind me. And I don't have to worry. I've already went through whatever it is. And so I feel like now I'm living. I definitely had to get out of just surviving. And so I've been trying to work on that. But no more turning around, no more looking back. I talked to you guys the other day about not letting people hold you down, hold you back, be what one of my family members calls dead weight, just weighing you down, slowing you down, and talking you out of progression. But as you get older, you'll find your circle of people that you spend the majority of your time with when you're not alone gets way, way smaller. And it's okay. It's okay. I don't think I was ever the person that had to have friends. I was the loner. Ha, let's laugh and get it over with. But I thought, even back in high school, I remember a quick story. I was sitting next to a tree. A break, lunch, something like that. I don't know why, but I was able to be outside. I didn't have class at that point. It might have been lunchtime. And so these girls came up to me, and I'll be honest with you, they were friends, but at any point in time it could have ended, right? Even back then I was so thankful for the genuine people that I had met up to that point. One of them, we're still friends. We met in 6th grade. We have not looked back. We've been best friends since we first met. And so I think I knew it. She had to catch up, but she was like, how do you know? And I told her, we're around each other all the time. We know each other's schedules. We don't argue, all this other stuff, right? That's my sis right there. That's one of them. I have more than one best friend that I call my sis. But anyway, so she was somewhere, I think in class or whatever. And of course, they're like, what are you doing? I wasn't trying to be a smart aleck, but I had a book, so obviously I was reading, right? And so I'm like, reading. And they're like, why are you alone? And I said, and I know where they were going. You're gonna call me a loner. You're gonna tease me, right? And I was like, well, typically that's what it's called when you're by yourself. Like literally no one's around, that's called being alone. I wasn't trying to be funny, but if you watch me back there, I hit a Sheldon or Dr. Brennan from Bones moment, okay? And I knew they didn't like me, but I didn't care. I was wondering where that part of me went. I'm glad it's back. Because back then I didn't. I wasn't trying to be liked. So anyway, I said, plus, if my friends were here and I were reading around them, it would be rude. I'm supposed to be spending time with them. And so I have some free time, and so I'm reading this book. And then when they come, when we meet up, then I'll just read some more of it later. So the story goes on from there. I'll just say one of the people walked away really nice. Never heard of anyone having any problems with this person, but then they started. She didn't even get far enough away to where she was out of earshot. I call it earshot. She could still hear them, I thought. And I just looked at them and was like, wow, that's what I mean. At any point in time, their friendship could have been over. Until you said something about one of them, and all of a sudden it's like, da, 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 da. I'm like, hey, you guys said you couldn't stand her. I'm just saying. I didn't say nothing. I was sitting here reading my book, minding my own business, right? So they called themselves trying to get mad. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, I had this saying. And I used to say that I was like an iron. What happens when you pour water into it? It turns into steam. And it just floats away. It was very difficult to make me angry back then. And I know they say you choose how you react. You choose if you get angry, right? You choose your reaction to what just happened. But so I'll say that I didn't choose anger. Most of the time I would just sit there and just look at you like, okay, I'm still trying to read. But yeah, I remember that. And I feel like that part of me I lost, but it's back. And I'm happy about that. I have other things to worry about. Okay, so we're gonna have, oh no, we're not. This credit of getting ready to be 6 minutes is gonna go to my second walk. Unless I just feel like doing the whole 40 minutes, then tomorrow's walk, and I probably will have a video possibly, I'll say, I have to think of a topic first. If not, we'll have a credit and I'll let you know if we're gonna use it. Okay, so we're 45 minutes, 47 seconds, 1.38 for distance, 8.3. I don't know why I read those numbers backwards all the time. And 198 calories. But yes, I would have to say, if you are in the same boat as I am, welcome to our 40s. I don't know what to say. You wake up every day, it's gonna, your age numbers keep coming, right? So I would say just handle it with style and grace. And I do tell people, whenever I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to brace myself for impact, I don't mean like a physical impact, even if it's emotional or mental, then I just remember to breathe. And I know it sounds odd, but if you can't stop it and you have to go through it and you can't get around it, breathing helps. And maybe you'll have to end up hopefully not having something happen, but if it does, you can just take a couple of deep breaths and say, okay, because for me, now I'm thinking. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, LaRae's very strategic. She's very precise. She's very detail oriented, right? And so I have to remember that that is, I would have to say, besides having long hair, I don't think I've ever really said that I like something like about myself genuinely. And I would have to say that until, maybe it's just the word, because I don't think I'm perfect. Maybe it's just a perfectionist word that I just don't like. But I think I've always been structured and organized and stuff like that. And so if I find myself kind of going off that path, I have to pull myself back in. It's not something for me personally that someone else can do. They call it like just focusing in. And I can't think of the other word. And I don't want to use that word because I don't think that's what that means. But I think saying grounded or honing, I think is the word. You might say that's not the correct word, but if it is, you kind of hone in. I think it's a word. I have to look it up and I'll tell you guys if I am using the correct word, and then I'll spell it to you guys and be like, oh, okay, that's what she means. Maybe that'll be the update is, did I find out is that the correct word and how's it spelled? But I've always heard that saying, and I think that's kind of what it means. So just kind of like drawing in my focus. Of course, the big truck will go by when I'm trying to end my video. But yes, so I have to remind myself, it's going to be okay. If you have to fix it, what's the saying? If you want something done right, do it yourself, right? And so it don't be mad about it, because at the end of the day, you piece yourself. For me personally, I piece myself together. I ground me. And I don't mean like punishment. I mean like just trying to get back to being well-rounded and being stable, and not just stable-minded, but stable emotionally, stable physically. That's why I'm trying to keep up with, you know, some type of exercise. But yes, so my 40s are going to be great, and 50s are going to be greater than that. 60s are going to be greater than that. I'm just going to keep trying. That's all I can do. So you guys, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to go in here. This time I'm not going to do what I did yesterday. I am going to top this bottle off, and then I'm going to come right back out here and start my next walk with you guys. Stay safe, and as always, thank you for watching, and I hope your workout's going great. Bye. Okay, so actually I decided that I would probably forget tomorrow or on my next video to tell you guys that I was using the word correctly. So The second definition of the word hone, Hone, means to refine or perfect something over a period of time, and something is in parentheses. Honing, Honing, to focus one's attention more narrowly or precisely on a particular task, issue, etc. Okay, so I was using the word correctly. And now I'm gonna go because I already got my water bottle refilled, and so it's time for my second walk. All right, now I'll see you guys later. Bye.